Okay guys, this is Northern Oklahoma College Algebra, Math 1513. I'm doing section 2.1 out of the book. We're going to talk about plotting points on a graph. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you that there's no reason to go purchase graph paper. All you got to do is Google free online graph paper. So Google free online graph paper, and you'll pull up a dozen websites and just pick your favorite one. And so I pulled up this graph paper here. It doesn't cost you a thing, so go get you some graph paper for these assignments. Okay, before we get started on graphing, just know that an ordered pair is just a pair of numbers in a certain order. Okay, I remember that it's alphabetical order because we're going to talk about x's and y's. Okay, there's my pair of numbers. It's in alphabetical order. You know, x comes before y. So for example, if I have the ordered pair 2, 4, there's my pair of numbers. The 2 is my x coordinate and the 4 is my y coordinate. Now when you guys draw a graph for me, I don't need anything real fancy. I do want it on graph paper, like I said, so go find you some graph paper. But all I need is a x-axis and a y-axis. I always remember y is high. That's how I remember the y is up there. So give me an x-axis and a y-axis, and I don't need all the little numbers and slashes and everything. Let's just remember that we're going to go by ones. So if we go back to the ordered pair 2, 4 that we were talking about a second ago, remember 2 is my x-coordinate. And what direction does the x-axis go? The x-axis goes left and right. So this x-coordinate tells me how many steps to go left or right. Alright, since it's a positive 2, it's telling me to go 1, 2 steps to the right. Okay, that's half of our directions. And now we got to look at the 4 for the rest of our directions about how to get to our point. So which way does the y-axis go? The y-axis goes up and down. So that's what my y-coordinate tells me. It tells me how many steps to go up or down. And since I have a positive 4, that's telling me to go 1, 2, 3, 4 steps up. And there's my point 2, 4. So the ordered pair 2, 4 is just directions. It tells you to go 2 steps right and 4 steps up. And we end up at 2, 4. Let's plot a few more. Okay, here's a few points I've got for us to plot. I've thrown in some positive numbers and mixed in some negative numbers. So we're going to talk about all our different places where these points could be. First of all, they don't tell you this in the assignment, but let's go ahead and name the quadrants. You notice that this is broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and we call each one of those a quadrant. Remember, quad kind of means 4, so we've broken this graph into fourths, into 4 parts. And we label this quadrant number 1. They like to use Roman numerals. This is quadrant number 2. This is quadrant number 3. And this is quadrant number 4. Now I picked some points that are going to land in each quadrant. Okay, so our first point is at the point 3, 5. I'm going to label this point A. So I'm going to call point A 3, 5. Now remember, the 3 and 5, that's just directions. It tells us how to get to point A. The 3 is my x-coordinate. It's a positive 3. That means I go 3 steps to the right. So I'm going to start counting. 1, 2, 3 steps to the right. And the 5 is a positive 5. That's my y-coordinate. That tells me up or down. Since it's positive, I want to go up. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. And that is my point A. Easy enough. Okay, look at the next one. Let's call it point B. So point B, the directions to point B are negative 2, 3. That's my ordered pair. Negative 2 is my x-coordinate. Since it's negative, I want to go left because on the x-axis, the negative numbers are to the left. So I want to take 2 steps left, 1, 2. And the 3 is my y-coordinate. That tells me to go up or down. Since it's a positive 3, I want to go up 3 steps. So 1 step up, 2 steps up, 3 steps up, and there's my point B. Okay, look at C now. C is 4 steps to the right and 1 step down. So 1, 2, 3, 4 steps right and 1 step down puts me right there, point C. How about point D? D is a -3, -5. -3 on the X means go 3 steps left. So 1, 2, 3 steps left. And -5 on the Y means go 5 steps down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's our point D. All right. Now, when you guys are graphing, I don't need to see all these little dots here. Okay, I'm just showing you how you count steps to get to your point. The final 2 points are going to be in no quadrant. They're going to be right on the x-axis or the y-axis. So look at point E, 0, 6. Now 0 is my x-coordinate, and that tells me how many steps to go left or right. Since it's 0, I'm not going to go left, and I'm not going to go right. I'm going to stay put. And then I look at the 6, and it's a +6 on my y-axis. It tells me to go 6 steps up. So I'm not going to go left or right because my x-coordinate was 0. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps up. And that's my point E. It's on the y-axis. Now later on, you guys might remember this. Later on, this is going to be called a y-intercept. We're going to deal with that later in the lesson, a y-intercept. And now we're going to talk about our x-intercept. This is point F, a -5, 0. That's going to wind up being on the x-axis. -5, that's our x-coordinate. It's negative, so it tells us to go left. So we're going to go left 5 steps, and the 0 is our y-coordinate. That tells us up or down. We're not going to go up or down. So we're just going to go 5 steps left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're not going to go up or down. So that is our point X, which later on, since it's sitting on the x-axis, later on this is going to be called our x-intercept. You might just remember that for later in the assignment. Okay, I'm just going to give you guys a little practice. Now let's go backwards. I put the points on the graph, and I want you to tell me the address or the coordinates of each point. And while we're at it, just go ahead and tell me what the quadrant is, too, that the point lies in. So, for example, A, I'm going 2 steps to the left and 2 steps up. So 2 steps to the left would be -2. 2 steps up would be +2. So there's the address of point A. And then what quadrant does it lie in? It lies in quadrant 2. So why don't you guys practice these real quick and pause the video for a second, see if you can figure out what the coordinates are, and then start the video up again and check your answers. Okay, and here's your answers. Notice that some of them didn't lie in a quadrant. For example, C and E and G and H. They're lying on the axis, so they're not actually lying in a quadrant, but the rest of them are labeled, so hope you did okay on that.